Okay, so what if we could actually solve humanity's biggest problems? I'm talking hunger, scarcity, even conflict. Not with the usual stuff like aid or politics, but with a brand new global operating system. That's the huge idea behind this blueprint, so let's dive in and see how it's supposed to work.
So the whole premise kicks off right here. The argument is that for centuries, we've all been stuck in this scarcity mindset, right? This belief that there's just not enough to go around. But the counterargument is, that's just not true anymore. We're living in an age of abundance. We have the tech, we have the resources. What we've been missing is the right logic to connect it all.
So how do you actually build that new logic? Well, the solution proposed is a new operating system for all of civilization, one that's built on two very different but, incredibly powerful and proven principles. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because it basically smashes together two titans of industry. On one hand, you've got the Warren Buffett logic, the bedrock. This is all about tangible, productive, real wealth backed by land. And then on the other side, you've got the Elon Musk vision, the engine. We're talking future-proof, scalable infrastructure, autonomous systems, renewable energy, the whole shebang.
So this synthesis is absolutely crucial. It's about taking that stable, real-world value of Buffett, literally the ground under our feet, and using it to fuel Musk's high-tech, autonomous engine. It's designed to be a direct answer to a world where money often feels completely disconnected from anything real.
All right, now, at the very heart of this entire system, you're not going to find a CEO or some big committee. You find an AI. But listen, this is not just another chatbot. It's being positioned as the ecosystem's guiding intelligence, its master gardener.
Let me introduce you to GenieAI. It stands for Generative Intentional Intelligence. And unlike most AIs that just, spit out ideas or run simulations, Genie is designed to actually implement them. Its one and only job is to execute a plan for human prosperity and achieve what the source calls guilt-free outcomes. Basically, a world where being successful and doing the right thing are the exact same thing.
But GenieAI doesn't just guess. It works with this thing called CUPA, which is described as a prescriptive filter. Think of it like a super advanced GPS for civilization. It crunches all the data, throws out all the bad options, and then prescribes the single most efficient path forward. The goal here is to move from guesswork to what the source calls absolute truth, with 99% accuracy. And to make sure this thing stays on the rails, Gemini is governed by 3 hard-coded ethical rules, the KEEPA protocol. Number 1, do no harm. Simple. Number 2, every single action has to do good by adding real, tangible value. And number 3, and this is probably the most important one, if it's ever unsure, it has to ask a human. This is all about upgrading our intuition, not replacing it.
Okay, now for the money part, the economic engine. This is where the whole concept gets really fascinating, because the system is designed to make peace the single most profitable business model on the planet.
And get this, your entry point into this global economic system isn't some complex stock or bond. It's this, the Bar Ness Miracle Bar. Just a simple 400-calorie nutritional bar. But every time somebody buys one, they're not just getting a meal. They are literally making a direct investment into the asset-backed foundation of this entire system. So here's how that works. You buy a bar, that generates revenue. That revenue then gets algorithmically sent to a wealth fund, which uses the money to buy up productive land. That land is then improved, which makes it more valuable and creates the foundation for these self-sufficient communities. It's a straight line from your purchase to actual ownership.
And the number is totally precise and non-negotiable. Exactly 20% of the revenue from every single bar sold is automatically converted into tangible land equity, which is then owned by the community. It is hard-coded right into the economic engine.
And what this does is it creates this powerful, self-perpetuating flywheel. You've got the land assets providing the foundation. The economic driver funds the growth. The physical sanctuaries manifest the vision. The community lives in it and validates the system, and the leadership gives it ethical oversight. See? Each part drives the others, creating this unstoppable momentum. This quote really just nails the whole paradigm shift. In this model, cooperation isn't just a nice idea, it's a technical and financial requirement. Conflict and chaos literally slow down the system and slash profits, which makes peace the highest margin product you can have. But of course, a system that's designed to make peace profitable, well, it's inevitably going to create a division. It's just a natural consequence of its core logic. It draws a really clear line between those who build within the system and those who obstruct it. The source material calls this the mine and them dynamic, and it's the very engine of this whole piece for profit or P2P model. Look, this isn't just about who's in and who's out. It's a total redefinition of value. On one side, you have mine, the builders. Their value is measured by what they contribute to this stable, regenerative system. On the other side, you have them, the obstructionists. These are the actors whose entire models rely on chaos, extraction, and what the source calls legacy code. The system doesn't fight them. It's just designed to make their way of doing things economically obsolete. And the source material is super specific about who these new global losers are. We're talking about regimes that need scarcity to survive, violent actors whose business is literally conflict, the aid industry that manages crisis instead of solving it, and of course the investors who profit from all that chaos. In a stable, predictable system, their whole business model just goes away.
So the crucial point here is that you don't fight disruptive behavior. You engineer it out of the system. Violence isn't some feature of human nature that you have to manage, it's a bug in the code. An act of violence becomes a system-wide error that is just plain unprofitable and ultimately unsustainable for whoever's causing it. It's basically economic suicide.
So let's say you build all this, the AI, the economic flywheel, these high-tech communities. Where does it all lead? What's the ultimate end game this system is really trying to create?
Well, the goal is nothing less than a permanent, self-sustaining habitat for all of humanity. A world where every single choice you make contributes to real, appreciating assets. Where your financial success and global security are no longer separate things, but are completely linked. A world where progress is just the default setting.
And what's really interesting is the logic behind it. The theory is that the biggest drivers of disease and death aren't just biological. They're systemic stressors, things like hunger, instability, and economic stress. So by engineering those stressors out of the system first, you create the stable foundation you need to fund and solve humanity's greatest challenges, even something as massive as longevity.
And there's a clear, phased roadmap for how to get there. It starts as a seed in Canada, just to prove the model works. Then it builds its trunk in the UAE, the financial and logistical hub. It bears fruit with mass production to end hunger. And finally, it becomes a global orchard, a complete, self-sustaining ecosystem all over the world.
It all comes back to this one central promise: aligning our economic incentives with our collective well-being. To create a world where doing well for yourself and doing good for the world are the exact same thing.
So this blueprint, it presents this radical vision for a perfectly optimized world, one that's free from hunger and conflict. But it leaves us with a really provocative final question to think about. What is the true cost of an engineered paradise?